Hello, this is a 2014 Ram. Not starting. Left me stranded yesterday and towed it home. We think it's the starter. Plenty of lights. The battery showing 12 volts. Turn the key. One single little click noise. That's it. That's all we get. So we're going to see what happens. Alright, so this is lying underneath the driver's side. This is the exhaust here. That's the starter with a wrench on the heat shield. It's a 10mm, so the first step is going to be take that off and then try to figure out how to get the bolts behind this large black bracket along the axle. If I can sneak a socket in there, I will. But the heat shield's coming off first. 10mm. Alright, to get the starter out, to get to the rear bracket, the rear bolt of the starter, you had to remove this bracket. It's attached by 3 18s in the front and 2 15s in the back. It attaches to the side of the bell housing and to the front axle assembly. But once you get this out, you are able to access the rear bolt of the starter. Oh, we'll get her out there. So move her out of the way. Alright. So now you can get at both of the starter bolts, but that bracket has to come out with the coolant lines and everything. There's no way to get at that back one otherwise, that I can see. Starter off the Ram. This vehicle is only 5 years old with 50,000 miles on it, but that's New England for you, baby. All that corrosion is just junked. For getting this starter out of here in these closed quarters, if you have one of these sockets with a bending neck, you get a little more area to work with, because you really can't move very much in here. There's very close quarters with the exhaust and the axle right here. There's very little room to move. If you have it though, I highly recommend using an air ratchet with a little flexible neck on there. I didn't use that taking it out, but I used it putting it back in, and it went back in about 5 seconds, what took me about 10 minutes to get 2 bolts out the other way. So if you have an air ratchet with a flexible head, I recommend that. New one's in, we just gotta hook up the wiring and test it out. Alright, so moment of truth after replacing the starter. 2014 Dodge Ram with 50-ish thousand miles on it. Starts up like a champ. Now, this took me about 3 hours. 2 hours to get it off and about an hour or less to get it back on. The majority of time would be crawling in and out from under this car to get the required tools and sizes of wrenches and things. Poor planning probably, but recommendation, if you have one, an air ratchet is good because it's very tight quarters. If you don't have one of those, one of these flex head sockets, really good for getting into tight spaces, which you really don't have a lot of room in there. And the bracket you have to get off. It was very tight, so I used the to get the bracket bolts out, I had to use a cheater bar. Other than that, just a bunch of wrenches, nothing really fancy. Put a little dielectric grease on the wires just to hopefully keep some of the rust out, and that's about it. So all in all, it was about probably 3 hours, but if I had planned a little better, I could have done it in 2, I think. Anyway, good luck, and keep working on your own cars and save some money.